Every year we like to take just a few brief moments and in rapid fire succession, go through and show you guys what we've been working on this past year and kind of what we're up to. And to kind of get into the technical details, we'll have Brian and Shawn from our team out momentarily. But I'll just step through and talk about a few things overall at our company. So because our clients have grown, we're in good demand, and that's a reflection of the work that we're trying to do for our clients. We're now over 50 people, and we'll continue to grow with our client base, obviously to keep a high level of service that our longtime clients have come to expect from us. We don't want to change who we are as we grow, so we've grown slowly, organically, taking on clients where we can, so we can continue to right-size our organization and focus in the right areas as well, and maintain that high level of service. We've, over the past year, become Autodesk Construction Specialized, and this is actually a big formal step for us with Autodesk. We actually worked with many of the tools in the Autodesk construction portfolio, Navisworks, Field and Glue, before Autodesk acquired those products, and this formalizes kind of our agreement with Autodesk and really their trust level with us that we can support and help those clients innovate on those platforms, especially as many of the new tools, which will be coming out here in the next week or two, kind of transitioning those tools to their new Forge platform. And we have some exciting developments around that as well. And among our new hires, we've continued to expand our consulting services. So we're doing a lot of construction completion reports with our UAV drone pilots. We have 2 FAA certified UAV pilots on staff. 3D printing, you see a lot of our work in AR and VR, kind of a little joint presentation. We actually have our booth with Corrigan, which is one of our clients here. You can check that out at our booth, kind of see 3D printing melded with augmented reality, kind of cool thing. So we're able to help our clients through client presentations and other services, or perhaps fill gaps in your workflows or technologies as needed. So definitely think of us in that regard and reach out to us. One thing that's definitely changed over the past couple of years, we've kind of become less known as CTC, like Autodesk reseller. And when we go to many events even, like when we go to Autodesk University as an example, we're going as CTC Express Tools. And you kind of see this kind of melding of our expertise and where we're going in the future. And we're really striving to become a software development leader within the industry. And that's actually led us to expand our development team. So we obviously have our CTC Express tools, and we do a ton of custom development. And as the platforms, and really the portfolio of products you guys are using broadens, there's additional gaps that need to be filled. And as many companies like Autodesk are going to software as a service and web-based tools, we have to be innovative and on top of things like Forge, right? Tying into our theme of Forge Ahead, that's an Autodesk web API system there. So we'll continue to expand our team as relevant, but we only build really what you guys tell us about. We need to be aware of what your issues are, what those workflow gaps are, and then we can take our expertise and work with your teams to figure out how we can best strategize, how we can use our resources to fill that for you guys. So really the line of constant communication is of value to us, and we hope to you guys through our offerings that we have. And so here's just a brief list of some of the custom development projects we've done aside from our public offerings. And these tools are varied in nature, some among Civil 3D, some among BIM 360 Field, some in Revit, some in AutoCAD even for certain workflows. So definitely reach out to us, and this is why we've made this shift towards software development, because we saw a need, right, a gap in the industry, and we moved quickly to fill that years ago with creation of some of our Express tools. And we actually even see the future of the Autodesk partners, the resellers that are out there. Anybody can sell you the software. Many of them train, support, things like that. But really, even Autodesk has said, if you listen to like their investor calls, the future Autodesk partners will be system integrators. They've said that. And so years ago, Saeed took our company and was investing to have offerings within this space and to build a team so we can be that system integrator. And so I give it to Saeed. He had the forethought to go out and partner with Revit before Autodesk bought them, partner with Navisworks, partner with Horizontal Glue, Vela Systems, right? And even our Express tools played into that vision of looking for what our clients would need next. But we're not mind readers. So definitely work with us. If there's gaps in your workflows, we want to hear about it. Because if you have that gap, other firms have that gap, And if we can help fill that, that's a service that we want to provide. We already have quite the public tool set, right? We have 5 different suites of different tools, a number of different content and productivity packages. And over the past year, we've been busy at work. We'll continue to add tools and update. And as a final takeaway, as I welcome Brian to the stage to show you some of this new stuff, I can't stress enough that we only build and fix what you guys tell us about. Well, as the theme calls out, forge ahead. And Brian, you have the stage.
Thank you, Oliver. Good morning, everyone. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the stuff we've been doing for Civil 3D, some of the plugins we have for Civil 3D, and one of them is in a partnership we've been doing with Kimley Horn. We've been calling it Sheet Generator, and what this is about is addressing the creation of plan and profile sheets, and not just the creation of them, but more importantly, when you get all those design changes, how do you handle that with all these sheets you've cut? So here's a little video. How do I handle things like this? There's design changes, right? My alignment's moving, something like this. How do I push those changes? I can't do that right now to my layout. So we've built a whole tool set that recreates some of what Civil 3D does natively. I lay out my sheets in model space like this. I have detailed control on my viewports in model space in this way. And then I can control in mass all of my profile views, both the station ranges, the elevation ranges. I can even have overlaps on my station ranges, what we're calling buffers. And then just like the native tools, we can push all this stuff and generate all of our layouts, putting them in Sheet Set Manager, everything you would want from those native tool sets. But why did we do this? What's the point of this? It's editing, right? How many times do you do something like this? And then you have to go fix all of your sheets again. Well, with this tool, we can update all of our sheets automatically. You don't take all that time doing that tedious work of redoing those sheets. So something we're really excited about. There's a lot of other little features embedded in there that I'll be glad to talk to you guys about some more. The next tool, we're actually releasing this one today at Midwest University. We're calling it Pipe Designer, and this is about pipe networks in Civil 3D. You know, I think about pipe networks, and to me, these things are like glorified 3D blocks with a bunch of attributes in them. It's not really a design tool set. So what Pipe Designer is about taking pipe networks, allowing us to really design with them in the way we think about it. So with Pipe Designer, I can select a pipe run and profile, for example, and I get this spreadsheet interface, and I can set things like an invert drop across that whole run of pipes, and I hit apply, and it pushes to my entire pipe network. I can set slope in this way, hit apply, and push that to the entire pipe network. I can design by matching my inverts, by matching my crowns, a whole host of other settings that really make working with pipe networks a lot more efficient, a lot more intuitive. So a very cool tool we're excited about releasing. Like I said, it's available now in our Sim Project suite. We'd be glad to talk to you guys about it more afterwards. Another tool, this is in partnership with Bolton & Mank. This is, like Oliver said, a lot of our tools come from ideas that you guys bring to the table. And so we do a lot of these partnerships where we come together and we figure out how to best make this tool. And this one is called Data Wizard. And what this is about generation of legends or schedules, or just counting up or quantity takeoff of information in your drawing. And there's some tool sets like this in Civil 3D, but they're really kind of limiting. And so I don't have a video for you here because we just began programming on this, but I have a little mock-up of part of the interface here. And so what I'm going to be able to do is scan my current drawing, multiple drawings, XREFs, you name it, for all these types of objects, apply different filters, pull different attribute data out of all these different object types, and spit out things like legends, not just the data itself, but also the graphics, so line types, little symbology, things like this. So really cool stuff. I'd guess most of you guys are doing something like really manual kind of AutoCAD editing of these legends now, or you have just like these standard legends you throw in every project, right? And you've got drain tiles showing up on it, but there's no drain tile in your project, right? We want legends that are accurate, but we don't have to take a lot of time to work with them. So Data Wizard, it's a legend creator. It's also what I'd call a data miner. So it goes beyond just legends. It's extracting information. Those of you who have maybe used AutoCAD data extraction, think that, but for all your AutoCAD and Civil 3D objects. Works on symbol type entities, line type entities, all sorts of things. And like I said, it's not just the attribute data or the text, it's the graphics itself. So really helps with those legends. And I can go to tables right in my own drawings with this, or I can go right to Excel. Those tables themselves, they can even be updated, right? So if you add something more to your drawing, I need to update that legend, of course, right? There'll be a refresh table, rescan all that information, update those legends. So big time saver, something we're really excited about. A couple other ones I want to highlight here. I don't have a detailed video I'm going to show you here, but a couple releases in just the last few months. One's called Corridor Mapper. I talked a little bit about this last year, but we've been seeing a lot of firms start to embrace this, think about how they use this. It's a very cool tool. What Corridor Mapper is about is taking the target mapping in your corridors and automating this. Basically what we're doing is we're dynamically linking layers and subassemblies so that when you draw any target objects on any of those layers, they just automatically go into your corridor. So this is great for novice users who don't understand target mapping, and of course advanced users who don't want to spend a lot of time setting all these targets in their complex corridors. So in corridors, I say it's all about targeting, right? You can spend a lot of time, it's pretty error prone, so it's pretty cool. Corridor merger, corridor splitter, these are what they sound like. Take any number of corridors, merge them together. Take a single corridor and split it apart. Maintain all those settings, targets, frequencies, all that stuff stays intact. So as those designs change, or perhaps you're just halfway through a project and you decide, I should break this up into 2 corridors, something different in that way. So lots of flexibility with those tools. And another one that's in the works right now, a survey template manager. This is really aimed at CAD managers, or those people who are managing the templates at your firms. And specifically in a survey template, you've got description key set and a figure prefix database, for example. Those are really tedious interfaces to work in. We're going to have those dynamically linked to an Excel spreadsheet where you can manage all that stuff in Excel with all of its intuitive functions and simply push those changes right to your survey template. Or generate a description key set in the first place from an Excel spreadsheet. So very cool stuff we've got coming out, and we'd love to talk to you guys about it more after the fact. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to bring out Shawn now, and he's going to talk to you about Revit Express tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. So my name is Shawn Zirbes, technical evangelist. Many of you have spoken with me and seen me on BIM Broadcast. If you haven't, sign up for BIM Broadcast. You should do that. I get to talk with you today about some of the wonderful building tools that we've been putting together. We're really excited about the civil tools that Brian just was talking about. Now we get to talk about the building side, the architecture and engineering side. One of the first tools that I want to talk with you about is this tool that's called Project Activity Logger. In fact, HKS was just talking about it up on stage and how they used it. It's a really powerful tool set. It's amazing the information that you can grab. It really helps you expand upon your BIM management superpowers. Imagine, if you will, you yourselves can sit down. It's not just the large companies like HKS. You can sit down yourselves and you can get this information available. So you can track things like corporate-wide metrics, project-specific information, other types of data. In fact, here in this case, if I want to take a look at a particular project, I can start seeing data about the largest file sizes, the number of warnings, how much time is spent inside of them, which users are spending time on these models, how much time they spend, how many elements they've edited, and I can just quickly, at a glance, see this. And this is all byproduct data from users just natively working throughout their day. I can also see information here about the actual models themselves. So I can go to a specific project, I can see the individual models, I can start seeing the exact properties inside of them, how many warnings, how many in-place families, just on the fly. I can take a look at things like warnings by level. You saw some of that earlier. I can take a look at how many views are in there. All kinds of information. This, again, gives you powerful insight into what's going on in the health of your models. So super critical. You can drill down to exact metrics about how long open and save times are taking, how big the models themselves are, the warnings, and how this is changing over time. Because you can open up a model yourself right now and check the open and save time for yourself. But how does it affect everybody? How does this change over time? Is it ramping up? Are you starting to see crazy spikes? Is it becoming consistently slower? Or is it just emotive because somebody feels they were in the office late and they're like, oh, it feels like it's taking longer, but it's not really. You can prove it with actual mathematics, just the data. You can take some of those save properties and drill real deep into it. Again, I can click on one of these bars. I can take a look at a specific save point in time and see exactly the user who was on it, the computer specs that they were using. I can see the exact model data, again, from the previous tab, but I can see it here as well about that specific save. I can even isolate the users, as you saw with what HKS was doing. I can see specific users, which models they're investing their time in. So if I have a brand new user who maybe hasn't had a lot of Revit training and they're working on my models, I want to know where they're investing their time so I know where I should invest my time. Or if I have a really experienced Revit user, I can trust maybe that they know what they're doing and I can maybe leave those models a little bit more alone. And again, the ability to see your warnings on the fly for any model at any point in time. You can just kind of review that, get reports, and filter this down to whatever level is meaningful to you. So once again, this isn't something you have to actively go after. You don't have to write Dynamo scripts. You don't have to try and parse through a bunch of slog files and copy them over to your system. You can simply get the data at your fingertips, and when somebody has a problem, or even proactively go into these spreadsheets or these Power BI reports and just take a look. What's going on? What's the health across my network? What's the health of these models? And instead of playing firefighter all the time, putting out fires and chasing your tail, trying to, spray water on the problem, whatever the problem might be, you can now play forester and you can pre-trim the garbage that's going to cause these problems before they become a problem. So instead of playing fix it, you're playing maintenance a little bit, which is a lot less time consuming. The next tool that I want to talk about here is a tool called Invisibility Advisor. We all have this bit of an issue. There are nearly 60 different reasons, 58 to be exact, why an element in the Revit model environment might not be visible. In this case, I've got a simple floor plan here. It's a finished plan on the left and a code plan on the right. And I want to see the furniture because maybe I want to do some pathing analysis and I want to see what obstacles might be in the way in the case of an emergency. So I'm going to go over to Visibility Graphics and do something we all would do. I'm going to turn on the visibility for furniture. Simple, not a big deal. I would expect when I click OK, furniture shows up. Doesn't. So then I'm like, well, 57 different reasons I have to go check now. You guys go, well, you noob, turn on the reveal hidden elements because that'll show you the element at least. Doesn't show up. Now what? Now I'm at a loss. So now I have to start digging through all of those different reasons and maybe coach a new user why this is happening, right? They've already spent an hour trying to figure this out and then I'm going to call you up. So this is where the Invisibility Advisor can come into play. What I can do is simply open this dialog. If I can find the element in any view in my project, and even sometimes if you can't, you can do a select by crossing and it'll find all the elements in that area. But I can select these objects. Now my favorite way is to pick the element and just say show just that in my selection drop-down list up at the top, and it'll give me that object in that list. At the bottom of this window, you can say, which view are you having troubles with? Well, in my case, it's going to be that code plan that I'm trying to solve this invisibility within. And I don't want to do it manually because I don't know how many reasons there are for this thing not showing up. So I'm going to tell it to solve for this. And when I do that, I tell it to solve. In fact, you can see here, it's actually got the element selected. Revit can see it, but for whatever reason, in its infinite wisdom, it doesn't feel like showing it to me. So I'm going to tell it to tell me why it's not showing up. And the Invisibility Advisor will run through all the different reasons possible for why it might not show up. In this case, filters, view ranges, work sets, they're all causing me problems. I can either fix it directly, just click the button and have it try to do what it thinks is best to fix it, which might work, or I can tell it to show it to me. And if I show it, then it'll try to open up the dialog box that might control that setting. And I can look at this and I can go, well, somebody made some kind of a crazy filter called furniture and they turned it off. So it's not just visibility graphics. They really didn't want to see furniture in this model, all right? Maybe what I really intend to do is show it, but show it halftone, so I can turn that on. Now here's the real problem. When I click OK here, it doesn't resolve it yet. And what a lot of your users will do is they'll undo what they just did because they don't want to screw up the rest of the view, so then they'll turn it back off again because, well, that didn't fix it, so let's go to something else. But a lot of these things are compound issues, multiple things that stack. So now what I can do is I can say, well, what about the view range here? I'm just refresh this to kind of check and see if that resolved that one thing. It did in this case. So I can see the view ranges here. That might be a problem. I can expand it out and have it tell me a bit about what's the actual controls here. And in this case, I'm going to be a little lazy. I'm just going to tell it to fix it. I don't want to go to the dialog box. I don't want to change any numbers. I just want it to do it. Now, this is a dangerous thing, and it warns you about that. Like, this might affect many things. If you're screwing with view ranges, you might see a lot more than you wanted. But it's going to try to fix that. Now again, I don't see it just yet because there's yet another thing that's controlling the invisibility of this object. And there's one final thing, which is the work sets that happens to be told to be invisible in this view. So again, I'm just gonna fix it. And when I do this, it will then show me that element on screen, but I didn't have to dig through all of the other reasons that might have been a problem. Sometimes common, sometimes uncommon. But this can be a huge time saver. So now I'm seeing the furniture in that view, I can do the thing that I wanted to do, and I could go back and possibly reset a view template or do whatever it was I wanted to do, but this can help you in a massive way. Fix these things significantly faster, okay?
Welcome to Midwest University.
Go home, Sophia, you're drunk. She partied too hard last night, apparently. All right. This tool we talked about last year, it was about ready for release. MEP, the MEP Productivity Pack. This tool set, if you're an MEP user of Revit and you are still a little bit struggling with some of the issues of Revit and MEP, there's some really powerful things here. 5,000 man-hours went into developing this, 2,400 parameters. It has tons of view templates ready to go, all cross-discipline. This thing has live legends for both electrical and for the HVAC and plumbing side. Real tags, real objects in the view. When you update them or the graphics, they update the view automatically or automagically. Tons of analytical views, so your engineers get design assist while they're working. So instead of having to pull out calculators, they can actually click on these elements and just go to the view and see the live feedback. And the last one that was just up there was auto-sizing objects. You make one simple change to an air terminal or some other element, and it automatically trickles upstream and doesn't just communicate air flows or other flow properties. It actually resizes the equipment in line to respond to that based on manufacturer input. So this can save you tons of time and tons of rework. Now, of course, as an engineer, you don't want a system like Sophia thinking for you. You want to be able to override this, and so we've got overrides built in. As an engineer, you can say, I want this to be this other value that isn't perhaps what it thinks it should calculate, but I want to choose that, and it'll let you do that. So if you haven't seen that yet, I encourage you to take a look at that. This is the final tool set that I want to talk with you about today, Hive. What's the buzz around Hive? You saw many of us wearing the shirts last night. You see a lot of the CTC guys today wearing the Hive shirts right now. What is Hive? Hive is a tool that we're incredibly excited about because it's one of our first multi-discipline tools. It crosses all disciplines, all responsibilities in a company potentially, depending on how you use it. It is a content management solution. This was built based on client feedback, and people say content management, it's kind of a gray area, it's kind of vague. What exactly is that? Well, let's make it real to all of you. I mean, we've got civil engineers in here, we've got civil techs, we've got architects, we've got designers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, all in the room. And all of you can leverage this because if you're working in AutoCAD, this tool can manage your blocks. If you're working in Civil 3D, it can manage your custom subassemblies. Well, not yet, that's coming, but we'll talk about that. It has the ability to take a lot of that data and it can read that information in. If you're working in Revit, family data, it can take your warehouse files, it can combine them into the system and you can read wall types, floor types, duct types, pipe types, whatever you want. Users can search for this information based on those objects' properties and then bring it into their design environment. You work with SketchUp? Great, find SketchUp content. You want materials? Fine, find the JPEGs. Drag and drop right into your design environment. So that's the reason for Hive here. Now, we don't right now have an AutoCAD, well, I shouldn't say AutoCAD. It works with AutoCAD, but it doesn't fully work with tools like Civil 3D or AutoCAD Architecture, AutoCAD MEP, Plant 3D, because those are Autodesk verticals. We're working on that. That's coming soon. But I want to kind of show you a quick little demo of this tool, and then I encourage you to go take a look at it in the exhibit hall before we close. In fact, been broadcast, shameless plug. Sign up for it, come on. So Hive has a specific user interface here. It has a user login. It's based on your email address. Everybody's going to be unique. It has a simple search ability, and you can see here I'm searching and I'm finding things like PDFs. It could be help documents. It could be training videos. It could be project procedures. It could be anything. I can specifically search for Revit objects, in this case, doors, and it'll find it. I can also discover, so if you want to search based on the properties of an object and say, I want to find any object that has a width of such and such, it'll help you navigate to and find those objects. It has a request system built in. It kind of breezed right past it, but it has a request system built in, so you can actually manage a request. Users can submit requests and content. You can then manage that. It has libraries to organize this information, so you can control who sees what and how they can interact with it. Company information, tagging management, users and user groups, and of course, an about dialog box. What program is complete without an about dialog box? But this one's really critical. You know how many of you that are using our RETs today, when there's an update, you have to be told, hey, there's an update, or you have to read our newsletter and go, oh, I got an update, and you have to install it. This new tool set here, Hive, will actually inform you if you're up to date when you go to the About tab, and actually when you log in, you have an option to say, let me know if I'm up to date. And then there's also an option, if you want to enable this, you can disable it at the corporate level, but you can tell it to automatically just update. So when you go to log in, it goes, oh, there's a new version, cool, update. And then it almost immediately pops back up, and you're logging in and searching your content on the latest version. So incredibly powerful system here. Again, just let me recap. It handles any file type. This is not software specific. It is completely agnostic. If you can browse to it in Windows, you can put it into Hive, search for it, and consume it how you'd like. Powerful filtering. You can search for any object based on any property that is associated to it. File types, who created it, whatever, Revit properties, anything. Cross-library search, which is critical. Those of you in the audience who have worked with BIMlist, one of our other tools that we have, it's a Revit-specific content management system. You're kind of locked down to a specific database when you want to search. And that might be a little bit frustrating because you might have content in other libraries that you want to go for. In Hive, we've listened to that feedback. You can search across all libraries. This can be cloud-hosted, or it can be offline. Now that's important too, because there's other systems out there in the market, and some force you to be only cloud, you have to be cloud, and some don't do any cloud at all. Well, we wanted to give you the option on the fly. Do you want this to be cloud? Do you want it to be offline? You can check the box, uncheck the box, and it manages that for you. And again, like I mentioned, we have a Revit add-in, so there is one that's specific to Revit right now, and we're working on the Civil 3D side and the other Autodesk vertical side to handle some of that systems-based content. So looking forward to that, and some of your feedback, of course, as well with this. So I want to turn this back over to Oliver and let him come back out and give you some housekeeping things, and then let you guys go to classes. Thank you, Oliver.
Yep. So at the outset of today, I mentioned we'd have an announcement about Hive. Well, some of you have been our beta testers for Hive, and we greatly appreciate the feedback you've given us. This has been a couple years in the making for us. We've had BIMlist on the market publicly, BIMlist Cloud Server as well, different modules there. And through our interactions with BIMlist and our clients using that, we gathered a ton of feedback. This, watching how the industry is moving, other tools in the content management space, we really wanted to come out with something that was truly game-changing, breaking the rules, over-the-top good. And the feedback that we're getting from our beta testers is we're ready for prime time now. And to ensure that we're ready for prime time, one of the things that we wanted to do is if you are a subscriber with CTC, you get Hive for first year for free. So we want you to go back, put it in place. We will help you put it in place. We will have a number of launch webcasts, walk you through the setup, how it ties in with Active Directory so members are permissioned appropriately. We want you guys to use this. It's our open launch stress test for Hive, and we want your guys' feedback as we continually move. Shawn talked a little bit about some of the things we're doing in the future with Hive, and we need that from you. So it's our little gift to you, but it's somewhat selfish because we want you guys to get into it, use it, and give us feedback so we can improve it. So if you subscribe to Autodesk products through CTC, you have Hive. You don't have to worry about it. There's no limit on seat count. Contact your account representative. And in fact, we'll be reaching out to you most likely because we want your feedback once again. So thank you again. Couple quick housekeeping things. We actually have those Hive t-shirts for everybody that you saw the CTC guys wearing, so you can pick those up at registration. Just swing by anytime today and grab that. Stay tuned for email updates from us and watch your app for any updates for the remaining days event. So thank you again for attending Midwest U 2018 and have a great day. Thank you.